The GOP's tax cut mega bill isn't the only one of President Donald Trump's priorities in jeopardy on Capitol Hill. Republicans have an unexpected crypto problem too. Crypto turmoil is unfolding in the Senate after 9 key Democrats, led by Senator Ruben Gallego, said this weekend that they would oppose GOP-led legislation that would carve out new rules for so-called stablecoins. The Democrats' surprise shift is an urgent problem for Senate Republicans, who are trying to expedite a floor vote on the bill by late May to give Trump a big, beautiful crypto bill to sign soon. Why does it matter? The crypto fight is one of the first major tests of Republicans' ability to work across the aisle in the second Trump era. Unlike budget reconciliation, GOP senators need Democrats to overcome a Senate filibuster. It's also a big test for Democrats, who have long been deeply divided over the risks and rewards of cryptocurrency trading. Senator Elizabeth Warren is trying to stop her colleagues from following the lead of Senators Kirsten Gillibrand, the stablecoin bill's lead Democrat co-sponsor. It comes after the crypto industry grew its influence by dumping tens of millions of dollars into congressional races last year. I c- what went wrong? The 9 Senate Democrats, including 4 who backed an earlier version of the bill in committee in March, blasted changes that Republicans made in the last several days and said the latest proposal would allow stablecoins to pose too many risks to the financial system. Among the Democrats who signed on, Senators Mark Warner, Lisa Blunt Rochester, and Andy Kim. Andy Kim. Several Democratic senators raised concerns at a closed door caucus meeting last Thursday about advancing an industry backed crypto bill as the Trump family tries to build its own crypto empire. Senate Majority Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer urged Democrats not to commit to supporting the stablecoin bill, saying they should use their leverage to force additional changes to the legislation. Hold on, let me see what this is about. Build its own crypto empire. Is it just talking about the Trump family is cashing in on crypto? It's creating problems for Congress. So this was uploaded a little over a month ago. The Trump family's latest cryptocurrency business venture could jeopardize bipartisan support for a GOP effort to lightly regulate the digital assets industry. Republican lawmakers need Democratic votes to pass long-promised crypto legislation that are rushing to send to President Donald Trump's desk. But a company started by Trump's eldest sons announced last week that it would launch a new digital coin, a move that could make it harder to get additional Democrats on board. World Liberty Financial's new stablecoin, a token pegged to the US dollar, could allow Trump family members to profit off the GOP-led legislation that would help legitimize the assets and enact industry-friendly rules for how they are overseen by regulators. Wait. Say this again. World Liberty Financial's new stablecoin, token pegged to the US dollar, could allow Trump family members to profit off the GOP-led legislation that would help legitimize the assets and enact industry-friendly rules for how they are overseen by regulators. Bro, this is an absurd conflict of interest. Literally, Trump, his sons have a freaking crypto thing they just started on top of the whole Trump coin that he did during the campaign, the scam coin that he did. This is so cynical, and this is so like this is such a tremendous conflict of interest. Just imagine for half a second, Biden wanted to when Biden was in office, wanting to do some sort of like pro stable coin uh bill. Oh, but conveniently the week before Hunter Biden started his own stablecoin business that would very much benefit like humongously. Like he would probably make hundreds of millions of dollars from the passing of that bill. Republicans and conservatives would lose their minds, okay? Like why there is not an uproar on the Republican conservative side about this insane conflict of interest and this insane like cynical cash grab. Like there is no reasonable defense for this. This is clearly just like to get him, his family, and his buddies as much like to allow them to make as much money as possible And the fact that they are referencing the bill they want to make, the bill that they want to push forward, is too financially risky and could like be a problem for the economy, shows that they really just want to enrich themselves at the expense of everything else, bar none. They don't care if it crashes the economy. If they come out on top, they're happy about it. It's disaster capitalism, right? The wealthy and those that curate the disasters and the in recessions and depressions and whatnot often are those that actually they benefit significantly. Their wealth goes up significantly in those time periods because those are opportune moments to consolidate wealth, consolidate assets. There's a restructuring of values of certain things. I just don't understand how there isn't uproar about this on the Republican conservative side. This insane conflict of interest. But I think me hoping and expecting there to be any semblance of like integrity from the Republicans and conservatives at this point is just naive and wishful thinking at this point. I really want it to be, and I'm going to continue to point out the hypocrisy. But they have firmly established at this point that nobody should reasonably expect them to do any of these things that make them hypocritical, because they're not coming at this from a good faith perspective. They're coming at this from a I'm trying to make me and my homies as much money as possible, bar none perspective. Several Democrats in both chambers already support GOP-led stablecoin bills, but the Trump factor is poised to become a hitch. In the House, the ranking member of the Financial Services Panel, Representative Maxine Waters of California, is expected to oppose the legislation at a committee vote this week if it does not include language that would block Donald Trump and Elon Musk from issuing stablecoins, according to a Democratic aide with knowledge of the matter, granted anonymity to discuss the decisions not yet made public. I think that is genius and perfect. Yes, absolutely. Because by doing this, you are making them acknowledge the hypocrisy and the rank corruption of having Donald Trump advocate for a stablecoin bill at the same time he already made one and his sons are making one like a week ago. Okay, and Elon Musk. I that seems totally fine to me. I think that is not only a practically legitimate, like smart provision to add to the bill, but it's also like politically astute because, like I said, you're forcing them to acknowledge the hypocrisy of not putting that in the bill, of allowing Trump and Elon and those and John Jr. or whatever to have their own stable coins, very conveniently released a week before they do this whole pro stablecoin bill sort of thing. Democrats involved in crypto talks on Capitol Hill say the stablecoin announcement from the Trump family crypto firm is a detriment to their legislative efforts. I can't think of anything quite so damaging to bipartisanship than that happening, said Representative Himes, a senior Connecticut Democrat in the House Financial Services Committee, who has backed stablecoin legislation in the past and said he hopes to again this week. The concerns illustrate the challenges of achieving bipartisanship in the Trump era, even on an issue that lawmakers on both sides have gotten behind as the industry's Washington influence has grown. It also highlights how Trump and his family's embrace of crypto have come with some downsides for Republican lawmakers who are working to legislate on the issue. Even some of the industry's most ardent supporters in Congress are acknowledging that World Liberty's latest move could become an obstacle in talks with Democrats. It shouldn't make life harder, but it might, said Cynthia Loomis, a Wyoming Republican who has played a leading role in crafting the legislation aimed at boosting the crypto sector. What do you mean it might? Girl, do you not care at all? No, she doesn't. Maybe she does care about the corruption and the conflict of interest, and probably would maybe in a personal setting acknowledge that it's not good. But maybe I cannot help but think there are so many Republicans that maybe have some semblance of like they aren't complete morons, but they understand they're in it really isn't the Republican Party anymore. It's the MAGA party, and that they have to kiss Trump's ass, and that anything that opposes him, they will be made an outsider, an enemy, and that they can't risk that for their reelection, their their electoral interests. And so um it's just so frustrating to see her like downplay or suggest that there isn't that there it might not be a problem, that there's no conflict of interest or whatever. Like it's just so like it's so gross. The legislation has garnered bipartisan support, teeing it up to become the first major crypto reform ever passed by Congress. At least 3 Democrats are already supporters in the House, but concerns from Waters, a longtime Trump foe and critic of the president's crypto business ventures, could imperil broader support from her side of the aisle. A spokesperson for House Financial Services Republicans, Brooke Nethercott, said in a statement that the panel looks forward to continuing our work on stablecoins. If we want clear standards in this market, the status quo is not the answer, she said. Several members on both sides of the aisle have been working to provide clear regulatory guidelines to allow payment stable coins to flourish in the United States. In the United States, it remains unlikely that the concerns over the Trump's new stablecoin will jeopardize Republicans' ultimate ability to pass crypto legislation. Democrats have expressed concerns about Trump's past moves on crypto, but have gone on to vote for industry friendly legislation anyway. Supporters of the effort in the party say new light touch rules are needed for digital assets, even as the Trump family could benefit from the regulatory changes. The bipartisan support for crypto, despite the trumpet controversies, is a sign of the industry's growing political clout in Washington, where it has spent hundreds of millions of dollars in recent years to lobby and boost candidates who support its cause. Crypto is all just one giant big like scam Ponzi scheme, that's a huge oversimplification, but like the moneyed interests that are in Washington, like lobbying for more crypto friendly legislation, are not doing so from an altruistic belief in the power and the novel ability of like blockchain or whatever. That is absolutely not why they are investing this money into Washington. They are doing it because it is lucrative, because it is a giant fucking Ponzi scheme, because those already holding large amounts of these assets, if they legitimize it and the assets accrue in value significantly, they can dump it. Classic pump and dump, but they're using the fucking government as the mechanism to pump. And also, I don't know if it's a good thing for us to make crypto a prevalent way of paying for goods and services in the United States. I worry to the extent that it could undermine the dollar's legitimacy. And I understand that the dollar's legitimacy ultimately comes from the fact that the US government only allows you to pay taxes in US dollars. And so as long as you are only allowed to pay taxes in US dollars and you'll never be allowed to pay it in crypto, which I don't imagine they'll do, then the US dollar will to some degree always be uh hegemonic. It will always be the king. But that doesn't mean that it's immune to the influences of like a more fleshed out stablecoin payment system in the United States. And I worry that we're going to have scenarios in which like I'm worried that we're going to have a future in which basically like you have to have a crypto wallet. That you not only have to have the ability to pay in cash, but that you basically have to have the ability to pay in crypto because like businesses are like, "Oh, we'll give you 20% off if you pay in crypto instead or whatever." And so then you're basically forced to pay crypto, otherwise you're gonna pay an extra like, you're paying more than other people. I don't know, I really don't like the idea of, like, us having to do crypto. It's sorta like how the credit score industry didn't always exist, right? It used to not exist, but now that the credit score industry is such a prevalent part of society, you basically have to acknowledge it, right? You have to get a credit card to build your credit. You have to acknowledge the credit score system. You can't just be like, "I don't care, I'm not gonna acknowledge it. I don't care if I have a bad credit score. I'm just gonna live my life." That will cause problems. It's almost the exact same thing. Yeah, it's almost the exact same thing in that, like, I worry the cat's gonna be let out of the bag with regards to the crypto payments and wallets being a prevalent part of our society, and that we're gonna get to a point where you have to acknowledge it, where you have to have the crypto wallet, where you have to not only, it's just another thing to pile on top of our modern society, all the stuff, all the BS we have to worry about and do that we wouldn't have in the past. You need the regulation regardless, but it's certainly not helpful, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand said of the Trump company stablecoin launch. The New York Democrat helped write a stablecoin bill that is awaiting a Senate floor vote. It makes something that's a very serious financial payment system into something that seems non serious, she said. I don't know how could you possibly differentiate between them doing this as like they think it's a good bill and just a byproduct is Trump enriching him and his family through this stablecoin thing, or the whole point of it being him enriching him and his family, and that just a byproduct is the like more regulation of the market and these other things that are actually in the bill. I would argue it's almost impossible to distinguish which one it is. And based on everything this administration has done over the last however many years, it makes me want to lean towards the latter, that this is really a bill in service to try and enrich him and his family and his friends, and that the byproduct is whatever the bill happens to have, not they're trying to pass a bill and the byproduct is him enriching him and his family. I just I can't help but think that it's impossible to parse out which one is which, and it's almost impossible. And I think there's you could make a very good case that it's the cynical one. Trump aligned Republicans are brushing off the concerns. I don't think it's a problem, said Brian Donalds, an ally of the president who sits on House Financial Services. There is no conceivable way he would be saying the same thing if the tables were turned and it was Biden and Hunter Biden creating a crypto stable coin and trying to do all this. There is no conceivable way. I would bet my entire life that he would not hold the same position, that he would be going hard against Biden. Oh, look at this corruption. Oh, look at this conflict of interest. Oh, he's just trying to enrich his family. Oh, blah, 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 corruption. I guarantee you he would be saying this. There's absolutely no way. I would bet my life that there's no way he would give this defense for Biden if the shoe was turned. Like the double, I know I spend so much time talking about hypocrisy and double standard when it comes to conservatives and Republicans, but like that I think is one of the defining factors of the modern Republican Party is hypocrisy. That they have a humongous double standard between the ways that they hold their own representatives, their own team members, and how they look at the other side. And I think it's because they come at it from a team perspective. You see some Democrats that do this as well, but I think it's much, much more prevalent on the Republicans that they aren't coming at this from a good faith. We're trying to find the best solution in the middle of all of us. Taking in everybody's input and logic and statistics and facts. They're coming at it from the perspective of a team sport. They've picked a side. They think that's right. Statistics, facts, negotiating, humanist tendencies or empathy be damned. All of that. It is a team sport in that sense anything goes so far as it pushes your team forward and pushes the other team down. Asked if he was concerned about the World Liberty stablecoin on Wednesday, Republican Brian Steyer, the lead sponsor of the House bill being marked up this week, told reporters that Republicans are focused in on the legislation that's been drafted. Yeah, okay, yeah. World Liberty's stablecoin, called USD1, will be pegged to the value of the dollar and backed by short-term US government treasuries, US dollar deposits, and other cash equivalents. Oh no, that's such a bad idea. No, that's such a bad idea. Why would we why would we back why would we back a why would we back a crypto coin like that? Why? I can only see negatives coming from this. What are the benefits from this? I can see a couple of dudes enriching themselves as a benefit of this, but I can only see systemic negatives. I can't see any systemic positives from this. I can only see this causing a devaluation of the dollar or a reduction in the hegemony of the US dollar in the national, in world markets and whatever. Like this seems like the economist part of my brain is the bells are ringing because this screams bad idea to me. According to an announcement from the company posted on Medium, the firm also sells a separate crypto token called WLFIA. A representative for the company did not respond to a request for comment for the story. U.S. stablecoin issuers have long lobbied for legislation that would clarify how dollar-pegged tokens are regulated, and they could benefit from a bill that gives the industry a new stamp of legitimacy. The legislation under consideration would put in place new rules outlining which regulators oversee stablecoin issuers and the types of reserves the companies are required to hold. Speaking at a major crypto conference in Washington on Wednesday, a World Liberty co-founder, Zach Witkoff, said the firm expects the market capitalization of stablecoins to be many trillions of dollars in the next few years. We view stablecoins as an integral part of not only crypto, but the entire financial system, said Witkoff, whose father, Steve Witkoff, is Trump's special envoy to the Middle East. But crypto itself is inherently nothing. It's inherently nothing, right? Like it is a fake currency that doesn't have any like ties to the government, and to the extent that this coin would have a tie to the government, it's only in a backing sense. It's not actually the USD. What is with people? I It is so sickening to me that something that is so obviously a giant scam, a way to transfer money from poor gullible idiots to rich, cunning, bag holders. It seems so clear to me that that is what overall the crypto industry is, and that people have just been blinded by like, yeah, a blockchain is an interesting technology that might have some real applications, but like if you are letting your liking of blockchain technology and your belief in its power to potentially do good things in the future blind you to all of the other problems with crypto, or the real life practicalities, or the fact that it's just a big fucking Ponzi scheme, is so stupid. And I can't I it's I'm gonna say I would say I can't believe the whole Republican Party has been captured by this, but like it doesn't actually surprise me that they've been captured by it. But it's so gross and so cynical and so, I think, potentially problematic. This is the sort of thing that could potentially crash the United States economy. And like I know that's an extremely low chance. Like we're probably talking less than 1% that it would actually turn out like that. But like if 10 years from now, through some convoluted series of events, ultimately stemming from this, that the US economy crashed, or the US dollar crashed, or the US dollar becomes not the main trading currency in the world, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. I'd go like, "Oh, I kinda called that. I kinda called that 10 years ago a little bit." Like, I saw that coming a little bit. He appeared on stage at the conference hosted by a crypto trade association called the Digital Chamber, alongside some of the project's other co-founders, Zach Folkman, Chase Harrow, and Donald Trump Jr., leading pro-crypto lawmakers, including House Financial Services Chair Fresh Hill and Senate Banking Chair Tim Scott, also spoke on separate panels at the event. Donald Trump Jr. said on the panel he was motivated to get into crypto after discovering how discriminatory the traditional financial system is towards conservatives. The sky's the limit for this. Bro, no. No, that's insane. Bro, they're actually trying to take victimhood mentality with the financial services. Bro, the fact that you are bad at investing in the stock market does not mean that that the market is discriminatory towards you. That is straight up borderline schizophrenia right there. That he's arguing that the traditional financial system is biased towards conservatives. Are you smoking crack? Knowing Donald Trump Jr., he might actually be smoking crack. But like, oh, it's so cynical. It's so obvious what they're doing. It's so obvious that they're all just trying to make a bag. They're all trying to just make their money. They don't care about any of this. And anybody who doesn't see that, I just like, I want to know what you do see and why you see it that way. And like, I would argue that it's very likely what you're seeing is you're something's based on something wrong. Okay, you're coming at this wrong, because this is just like this whole everything involving Trump and crypto and all of this and stablecoin legislation and all of this is just like the pure corruption, pure conflict of interest. And I don't understand how that isn't the main point of conversation about this, right? I have a feeling the Democrats are like terrified at the idea of voting against this kind of piece of legislation, lest they be seen as like the old party who doesn't want to move forward and yada yada. And the Republicans have been trying to change that narrative and have been somewhat successful in doing so. And the Democrats are aware of this. And so I think they really, really, for like political bad optics reasons, want to um pass some sort of crypto related bill, and that I'm so worried that they're gonna overlook the ridiculous conflicts of interest here and the rank corruption, and are gonna do it because they think it's good for their electoral chances or whatever in the future. Like, knowing the Democrats, that's exactly what they're gonna fucking do. They're gonna have a couple of people performatively be against it, and then when the rubber meets the road, they're all just gonna bend the knee.